So I'm here with my friend, my brother from another mother. It is the one and only Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I'm so happy that you're taking time to talk to me on the road of all places. You got sound checks, you got people to meet, you got stuff to do. And it is always just such a pleasure to see your face. I feel like we're back, being the 18 and 23-year-old kids we were back in the day. You getting into the music business, me being on the radio, absolutely having no business to be on the radio. And so it's always nice to see you. I always feel like I'm sort of coming full circle when we connect.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of history together, and
dude, we do. It's so crazy. It's just so crazy. Like the first thing I ask about is dad and family and how's everybody doing and the cars and and I saw you lost your dog recently. So my deepest condolences. I lost a dog at 16 too, this past year. And I'll tell you, when they get to 16, you get them to 10, you get them to 12, you get them to 15. Once they get to 16, you almost feel like you're never going to lose them. Like they get to that point, And so my condolences. What a beautiful dog.
Thanks. He was good. He was a great dog. He was the best dog that I've ever had. And the amazing thing about him is his quality of life was fantastic just up until like the last couple of months. So he lived a very good life, and he was fantastic for me and my wife and my kids. And, it's just like, he's older than all of them. Like he was our baby before we had babies.
Yeah.
So, there's a void there, but it was a learning experience. It was a life experience for my kids, to go through that. And I'm just grateful that we had him. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he looked like a great dog. A life well lived for sure. So it's so funny because when somebody said to me, "Oh, it's the 25th anniversary of Trouble Is," and I'm like, nah, you guys are wrong. Like it cannot possibly be 25 years. But it is. And I want to talk first before we talk about, you've got a state theater show coming up. So I want to get into, touring and stuff. But that record, a very special record. I've always felt that record was such a special record. It did so much, not only for you career-wise, but I thought it, your second record being so much bigger for you than the first record sometimes is really, really hard to achieve. And it established you. I mean, it gave you the Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band and Noah, and the biggest, one of the biggest tunes that you guys had. And I think it just was that record that moved you into a whole different stratosphere of who you could be as an artist.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like you mentioned, it's a lot of times it's hard when you have a first album that's successful, and Ledbetter Heights did really well. We saw that album went gold really fast and then eventually went platinum. And so it's hard to follow that up sometimes. It's called the sophomore slump. And, frankly, like I didn't know, I think maybe my, age worked to my advantage because I was a little naive, I think, and didn't even know that was a thing. And so I didn't know that a sophomore slump existed until I was doing interviews about the upcoming new record, and people started asking me that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so then I was aware of it. But I felt like this, with the success of the first record, like I had an opportunity, like I got a taste of success. I got a fan, we started building a fan base, but it just made me that much more determined to put my flag in the ground and, be like, this is who I am. I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. And we're putting out quality music. And that's what we plan to continue doing. And I think that's what we've done since then too.
And always quality music. I mean, I think of you, and I mean, look, Grammy winner, million seller, chart topper, crossover guy, #1 albums, always stayed true to who you are. But I've always thought of you as the blues audience kind of reinventor. And I don't just mean this for a younger crowd of people that would appreciate the blues, but I also meant it for an older crowd of people, because when I was at WDHA and, the first 2 records were coming out, there were older people that maybe weren't that into the blues, but knew you as a rock artist and then went back and rediscovered so much. You have done so much for that genre, and not only the genre, but the genre of crossover, rock and blues kind of mixing back together again, the substance over style necessarily, if you will. And I want you to get that credit for everything that I think that you deserve, because you were definitely somebody who introduced a style of music to multiple generations when you were really just a kid yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew just from looking at some of my biggest heroes like Stevie Ray Vaughan, or Jimi Hendrix, or, Billy Gibbons, and, people like that who acknowledged, they were always quick to acknowledge their blues influences and their blues roots in their music. And I knew from those guys that, when you have an opportunity to reach a wider audience because your music might be more appealable to some people than traditional blues, that you have an opportunity, first of all, you have a responsibility to give the credit where the credit is due for the people that inspired you and inspired the sound that you've created by being influenced by them. But you have that responsibility, but you also have an opportunity to turn your fans onto some music that maybe they haven't listened to before, by mentioning those artists, by mentioning those records. And then they get curious and they go back and then they find out, oh, I do like this kind of blues or that kind of blues or whatever. I mean, I've always kind of felt that responsibility. I mean, in the blues world, it's really complicated. When I was younger, I didn't realize how complicated it actually is, but maybe it's more complicated today than it was then. But there's a lot of people that just want blues to be one thing, and one thing only, and keep it like nice and pure, and only that. But I have always, because I grew up around radio, I grew up around, songs that were made for radio, with choruses and big hook, lines and, great melodies.
Songs. Radio always wants songs. We need songs. We have to have songs, and you're a song guy.
That's right. And that's the kind of guy I am. So my goal from day one has always been, look, I love playing the blues. I could play just straight blues, all night, and I would be a happy guy. But like when I'm writing songs and creating new records and new sounds, my goal is to write, songs with big choruses and things that people can sing along to, and a great melody, and so my goal has always kind of been to take blues as my foundation and then push it into different areas and go in different directions with it. And that's what I've done from the beginning, for better or for worse, depending on who you're talking to.
No, it's phenomenal, because I think you've been such an important artist, and I wanted to make that point today and not just talk about the record and the tour. I want to make that point because I think that you are somebody who has carried that flag and carried that torch for so many years, for 30 years. And I want to make sure that you get the credit that you deserve, because you deserve that. And also, and I want to mention the State Theater Show, of course, is Friday, May 20th. So stnj.org to get your tickets for everyone. You've also been someone, and I gotta go on this one here, that has been very supportive of, look, you just mentioned, I don't know, it's tougher today than it was. And now we're starting to see some movement for women in rock music. Well, let me tell you something. If you think it's tough being a woman in rock music, try being a woman in blues music. That's really hard. And you've been, with Shamika and Samantha Fish, you've been somebody who has always taken that opportunity to let those ladies shine.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I've been making a conscious effort in the past couple of years to, really put my support behind the female musicians that are doing blues music, because I think we need more of them. And the ones that we do have are tremendously talented young ladies, and I think they deserve all the recognition and support they can get. So I've been trying to use my platform to bring them out for whatever help I can provide. Open my audience up to them. I mean, Shamika Copeland, in my opinion, she's the modern day queen of the blues. I mean, Samantha Fish is really, creating some momentum and a name for herself. Then there's Venable, who came out of East Texas, which is not far from where I'm from. We had her out on the road with us this year. I'm doing a concert in June, which is my birthday celebration weekend, and we have all of those ladies.
I saw that. I was like, yes, my boy, my man Kenny is taking the ladies out. And it's so important for people to be able to have that platform. And yes, you are so right. And Shamika and you are probably pretty close in age, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're really close in age, and we've known each other for a really long time too. So, but there's even more. I mean, there's a young lady, Joanne Shaw Taylor, who's from the UK, and she's making a name for herself doing it. There's just people there's no shortage of young ladies doing this music and trying to do this music and be successful doing it. They just, they need our support just like the rest. I mean, everybody needs everybody's support,
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to talk too about the Backroads Blues Festival, which is really cool. And again, that's just what I was talking about, where you're sort of keeping things going. So talk to me about how this came to be. And, you know, this is sort of all kind of your mastermind. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I remember when I was a kid, like some of my biggest, fondest memories, musically, were going to blues festivals and seeing, you know, the hottest blues acts on the road at the time. And then, you know, wasn't very long before I was playing those festivals as well. But I mean, I would go and I'd see Joe Cocker, Etta James, B.B. King, Buddy Guy, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Vaughan, you know, it's just so forth and so on. And then I went on to play them, and, you know, diverse lineups, you know, including like people like the Venable brothers, and, you know, just blues and really roots music. But I mean, it was just such a big part of my life growing up, going to these blues festivals. And B.B. King had a traveling blues fest that I played many, many times over the years. And so I just thought, you know, there's a void. You know, this had such an impact on me, and I had so much fun going to those things that I want to step up, and I want to like bring that to the people. I want to provide a touring blues festival with the hottest names in blues talent, and give other people, and not just blues. I mean, eventually we'll bring in some other artists right now, but we're starting off with two of arguably the greatest names of blues music today, besides me and my band. It's Buddy Guy and Chris Ingram, you know,
Yeah.
Kingfish. I mean, I think it's a great lineup. It's a great inaugural lineup. And I think that, you know, obviously moving forward, we're going to have some women of the blues being a part of it as well, and some of the young talent and some of the older talent. And I just think it's going to give people an opportunity to see a package of the greatest blues talent that's out there at the time on the road in many different markets, and hopefully create some of those memories, you know, for people that I hold so dear to my heart from going to blues festivals when I was.
I love that. And I think that's the perfect progression for you. I mean, I just think that this is like just the so right time to do it, and the absolute perfect progression for you. So we've got a state theater New Jersey date. You know, New Jersey loves you. It's always like you're sort of coming home to New Jersey. People say, oh, Kenny's coming home to New Jersey, because like we feel that you're home when you come back to New Jersey, even though you're not from here. May 20th, stnj.org to get your tickets. Now, Samantha's going to be out on that date with you, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's going to be incredible. I urge everybody to get there super early to make sure that you check out Samantha Fish. She's incredible. I mean, she's so charismatic to watch on stage too. She's like really super cool.
Yeah, well, you know, she's young, she's vibrant, and she's hip, and, you know, she kind of does in her own way, you know, what we've always done, which is, you know, she started with the blues and has taken it into different directions, but she brings that energy of a young person to the stage. And, you know, I've watched her over the years. Really, I remember seeing her come in as a new artist, and I've watched her develop as an artist over the years and hone in on her craft. And, you know, the thing is, one of the things that makes somebody go from being a good player to a great player is just getting out there and doing it, you know, playing shows every single night, entertaining the people, trying things, figuring out what works, what doesn't, what gets the reaction. That's how you really fine tune your craft. And she's really worked hard at it over the years.
Does it feel like 25 years since Trouble Is? Does it feel like, you know, or does it feel like just yesterday? Or does it feel like 100 years ago, you know, like so far in the past? When you look back and you think about making that record and because there was so much going on with that record, really, you know, the first Kenny Wayne Shepherd band record. What is like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that record?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of fond memories. You know, it's one of those things like, you know, you look back and you go, wow, that was an incredible experience. And, you know, you don't even know I knew we were having a blast at the time, even when it was going down, but I don't know if I realized just how incredible it all was. But looking back on it, what a time, you know, what an amazing time in my life. A learning experience. I mean, there's just so much stuff that was new to me, and so many doors that were open, and we got to do so many cool things. And yes, it depends on what day of the week it is as to how. Like today, it doesn't feel go. Tomorrow I could wake up and my back's hurting a little bit. And I go, yeah, really feeling those 25 years, you know?
You know, and what I've always loved about you is not only a talented artist, but you've just always been such a graceful artist. You're just a great dude, awesome family man, always have been great to the fans and just carrying the torch for music and always stay true to who you are as an artist. So always just so much respect for you. And we can't wait to have you back in Jersey. You know, Jersey loves you. State theater, man. We're ready to go.
Well, I can't wait to see you. I hope I'm assuming that I'll see you when we come there. So
you will absolutely see me. If Pops is with you, you guys got to stop by the station because two of my favorite people. May 20th, by the way, is the date. And Kenny, it's always a pleasure. It kind of brings me back to the glory days of the early days whenever I get to see your beautiful face. So thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Karis Lock Company, your full-service locksmith, and Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway.